All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. We're in episode 2 of ITUTv. Here with Mike. Welcome, Mike.
What's up? What's up, everybody? What's going on? Hope everybody's having a great. What's today? Wednesday? I mean, shit, I forgot that it was a holiday. Like holidays don't even mean anything anymore, really, outside of the actual meaning. It's funny. It used to be like, oh, it's a day off of work, but now when you work for yourself, it's a little bit of a different story. So today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everybody.
I forgot Labor Day was a thing until Labor Day popped up. Oh.
Facts. I'm like, every day is Labor Day. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, what do you mean? Christmas? My Christmas is in July.
Right? Facts.
Word. So
my Christmas is every day I hit the charts.
Hey, exactly. Today we're going to get into a special topic I think a lot of people deal with. I think, you plan on getting, honestly, into anything out of the norm, you're basically going to go through this situation. But dealing with friends and family, either not believing in you, not believing in what you're trying to do, not having that support, and then just as much so, finding those times outside of charts, outside of trading, to spend time with friends and family so you aren't so obsessed, you aren't racking your brain. There is a balance. You do want to treat this as if you were, on track to get a degree or something like that at a fast pace. Every day is school for us. Every week is an education time for us to learn from the market. So it's like a constant education. You can get lost for sure in the learning parts of it and then not get that extra time in that you need to go spend with family and friends and things of that nature. So I think it's important just starting out. Let's just look at the fact that we'll get into this, and you're putting money into something. So you got the first people that's going to think you're gambling. Family and friends that think like you're just throwing money into a market you'll never learn or understand. They don't know that you're growing a skill set. They think you're just taking a chance every week. So they're not going to be too adept to come assist as you go through these things, as you go through these ups and downs and these times of mental clarity and learning about yourself, like we talked about in the last episode. You're going to grow as a person. You're going to grow as a leader. My over the last years of learning this thing, I've definitely taken on the concept that you're an entrepreneur at the end of the day, even as a trader.
Yep.
You're an entrepreneur. You're in for yourself. You don't learn by yourself, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you've got to apply the skills you learn on your own. Each day, each morning, each session that you decide to trade, it's on you, between you and the market. This is why this isn't a competition game. We're all here to help each other. We're all here to push each other in the right direction, because we want to see each other not just win for ourselves, but win for our families, win for our friends. We want to take this skill, go back and help our loved ones and the people we care about, and push our kids to the further level than we could reach, as we go into this new world, metaverse and all this, it's going to be completely different by the time they're old enough to take on the realm. So, Mike, if you want to weigh in, man, if you got it, any thoughts?
Yeah, and I come from an interesting spot because, from the original platform that we were on, I was educating on that, and I was learning at the same time, and I was working on that, right? I was working a 9 to 5 during that time. So when it comes to trading, I'll tell you, like, I took on a lot when I started, and it was because I'm that type of person that's like, yo, I'm gonna go 150% until the wheels fall off and break. Let me just do it how I need to do it. If I need to, there are times, I'll be honest, there are times I went into work off of 1 hour of sleep from trading at night, heavy news nights when it comes to GBP news, when you get all your red folders in Arizona time, it's like 4:00 in the morning, right? Right towards, London's in full swing. It's probably about halfway through, close to maybe a third of the way through at least. And Euro news is always early. So, right when London opens. Yep. So when you're sitting there and you've got those high volatile news time frames and you're just starting, you want to learn how the market's moving, you got to be able to watch those things. Yesterday, we talked about briefly the emotions when you're sitting in drawdown, right, as a beginner. So when it comes to that, from that perspective, you have to be able to understand how strong your mental is, your psychology, right? your psychology. Do you understand what's going on? Do you understand what's in front of you? Meaning, do you know when you need to take a break and when you need to step away for a second?
Right.
There were times that I wasn't aware of that, and it threw me off, and then I'd be off my game for a few days of trading, you know. So the balance is very difficult. And I get the question a lot, how did you balance these things? And you know what? I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't balance them well, but I did it according to what I felt I could handle.
Correct.
I can't answer that question for everybody that asks me, right? Because I don't know where you're at mentally.
Right.
When it comes to trading, you know, I think we said it yesterday too. We all see the ups and downs. We all see the consolidated movements. We all see the bullish, the bearish moves, the patterns. You know, some may see the patterns more clearly than others, but regardless, the only thing that separates me from Zay or me from Tay or me from anybody, right, is our mental, our psychology, right?
Right.
So keep that in mind, that this is an individual thing. And because this is individual, and I'll wrap this up here in a second, it's you versus the charts. You versus the charts.
Yep.
It's not anybody else versus the charts. It's not your best friend or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your parents or your cousins or your aunts, your uncles, the ones that are going to A, be naysayers, B, the ones that aren't going to understand what you're going through, C, they don't even know what you're even doing or care to do it because they'd rather follow everybody. Now, I'll be rude and I'll say that because they are followers.
Right.
Remember what we talked about yesterday? We talked about, or last episode, we talked about, you know, things that need to, that will separate you to being individual, right? So, you know, when your views come out, when you follow the money, you get all your answers. You might start understanding yourself a little bit differently. Yep. This is all in the one and the same. It's all one and the same, right? You have a relationship with the chart. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want my mom, you know, that's not a relationship that she needs to be a part of, right?
Right.
It's like my marriage, you know. She loves my wife, you know, that's her daughter-in-law, but she's not in that relationship. It's the same thing with these charts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, and you know, it'll resonate when you start seeing what's going on. You might really take a big enjoyment in doing this, like I did, and push yourself even further, right? Where people are going to be like, well, why are you doing this? You're going to have to deal with a lot of negativity. I'll tell you a quick little highlight here.
Yeah.
We did our first 5-day course in July. It was July of 2020, right? And that was the first time I was able to interact with students, members on that type of a forefront base that wasn't every single night at our office, right? So this is something people paid to come to. We had like 25 people, right? Took a whole week. Everybody got that 100% attention. And then we had a dinner at the very end. The relationships that you can build within the trading world are crazy. Like they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Because people are on the same wavelength as you. They're on the same mental aspect as you.
Right.
Right. But when you walk away, like I was able to walk away, and I'll tell you, I cried there, and I cried the next morning because when I got home and Venus had already been asleep, you know, the next morning we talked about it, and she was like, so how was it? How did it go? I started crying, and she was like, what's wrong? I said, I wish that you could have been there, because now you would see the impact that I had in that room. And that is why I continue to go and do this, right? Yeah. I was trading, and I was on at one point I was on 3, almost 4 platforms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've scaled that back a lot. I'm not tied down to any individual one anymore, and I do my trading a lot on my own, but I'm still out there giving information. It's just people, you know, the demand for it went away because of the fact that people don't have the extra money to spend anyway, you know. Okay. So I'm not trying to put somebody in a bad position financially by charging for a one-on-one or having them lose money in the market. No. You come to me when you're ready, right? Yeah. Yeah. But you get to that point where you can adjust it all.
Correct. Every bit of that, I relate because I understand, and like, I don't know if I've gotten to talk about this yet, but I've done multi-level before. I was in a business. It wasn't in regards to trading at all. It wasn't sales, but there is an impact on people's lives that exist when you give them the opportunity to do more for their families than they can do before. Like at the end of the day, it's really important if you're getting into this to not take it for granted, not be, don't waste your time.
Right.
Don't waste your time. Like if you're going to decide to do something like this and you're going to take it serious, you're going to have to be a leader in the space. You're going to affect others. This is a big reason why I started doing this and why I wanted to come back and reach out educationally wise, because for me, when it came to trading, it was something that I never thought I'd ever stumble upon. I never ever thought in my entire life would I ever be able to do what I'm doing right now. So to reach this type of pinnacle, to get the information that I'm receiving, to get the education, to come back and say, hey, yo, I've got it figured out, and reach back to others that are struggling, that need help, that are, bumping their head in the road, blowing account after account, and get in a position where we are now, where it's like, man, I can't even afford to do it if I want to. How can we help those people?
Right.
How can we tap in, reach out, and give you the information you need? That's why we have the Telegram. That's why we have the Facebook page. Those are free avenues for people to get into and get the value, even though they're out of the game.
Right.
It's important to stay involved because you've got to decide. Like I had to decide: do I want to stay in the 9-to-5 life? Do I want to go into the headache of climbing the ladder, or do I want to master the skill set and then take control of my life again and get back with friends and families and things of that nature in freedom as we were? I mean, I would even say there's a specific point. I don't know if you felt like you went through this coming out of high school or college or anything, but there's a point where you feel like I'm running this race to get back to these moments again. I want to get back to doing these things that we do as friends, as family, year after year, day after day, week after week, but I got to go be responsible, and those responsibilities can overwhelm your life so much that you never get back. That's why they say so many friends drop out after college. They don't get to hold that relationship in anymore because of their responsibilities.
Yep.
So how can we take something like this and reroute that whole timeline? Don't waste any time, man. Getting your education, getting this down packed. I know a lot of guys go year after year. It might seem like you got something you want to add there.
I do, because I think I got a Jay-Z bar here for you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When you get into this and you start seeing, at the beginning, you might see a $200, $300, $400, $500 day, right? Then you get to your $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a day. Then you start seeing your, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a day. And I'm not saying that's without losses. That's with losses, guys. It's with losses, right? When you start seeing how easy it is, when you get to the point of being able to profit like that, two things happen. One, you understand that time is more of a valuable currency than actual money. There's your Jay-Z bar, right? You start really understanding that.
Yep.
The second thing is that you start to understand that the journey to get to that consistency isn't as long as what it may seem like before even starting, right? So when you talk to any stockbrokers or you talk to these guys that are big time in Wall Street, what are they? Oh, I've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. I've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. Those guys are hedge managers, right? They're probably dealing with millions upon millions of dollars a day. And here's one thing also that I'm going to tell you. I don't care whether it's $1 or whether it's $1 million, your mindset is still the same thing, right? That's why I laugh when I hear those things and people are like, oh, I could never do what you did. No. You could learn. It took me probably before I started being profitable and whatnot, maybe, a little over a year, right? And in fact, there are times I still take massive losses, right? I'm not perfect, but also at the same time, I know how to read these charts. It doesn't take 15, 20 years of being in the stocks or whatever it is as a broker to understand those things.
Right.
It takes that long to maybe articulate your mind, right? But everything is still the same. Like it doesn't matter what chart it is. You just need to attack it the way that your body and the way your mind need to attack it. But the thing is understanding that time is the most valuable currency. You said it like when you're chasing back to get these moments, right? What is everybody always looking for when they go to work on Monday? They're looking forward to Friday.
You know it.
Because the weekend is coming up. Oh, and don't let it be a Labor Day weekend because then they got 3 days and then they're happy. And oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy. And don't let them work for PayPal because every 5 years you get a full month off.
My God.
I'm sitting there like, and that's the rat race that we've been taught, right?
Right.
And yes, we can Zay and I can sit on the charts and we can sit here, break something down in 5 minutes, look for an entry, and then just wait and get paid to wait because we may be in another trade already, or just we're going to profit so much off of the one that's coming up that it'll make the month of some regular individual, right?
Right.
But that may only take a couple hours, right? I personally am glad that I sacrificed a couple years to be able to do that for a couple hours a day, rather than have to wake up in the morning. And let's not forget the fact of what job stands for, just over broke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you understand where we are economically, it is because of the job system that we are in this right now. I would challenge anybody to argue with me on this, or not necessarily argue, debate with me.
Mm-hmm.
COVID was not the beginning of any of this stuff.
No.
Everybody wants to blame COVID.
No.
The actual beginning was the $15 minimum wage increase, right?
Yep.
When they do that, your actual cost of living has to go up. How does cost of living go up? Well, guess what? Everything has to go up in price. How did everything go up in price? Well, guess what? They gave us $7 trillion to float around in these streets, even though Zay and I didn't see any dollars of that, right? We saw nothing. So, to those that got their PPP loans or their SBA loans or all their STEMIs or all their thousands of dollars of unemployment, right. I hope they enjoyed it, because this is why, we're here because of that financial impact, but it's also because it was voted on to pass $15 an hour minimum wage.
Right.
If you don't understand what that actually consists of, I would challenge you, go back and learn the economic side of raising minimum wage. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to do.
Right.
Oh, but Mike, you're taking money out of people's pockets that may not qualify for it. You know what? Here's the thing. What are we sitting here doing right now? We're trying to tell people that there's another way to do things.
Right.
So you can't hit me with that shit. You can't, because there's always a way around settling for minimum wage.
Correct. You got to think that for some reason, I think people lose track of history. It's never been beneficial for you to be poor. Just hasn't. I'm just keeping it 100. And when the poor yell for things, they give it with all these stipulations. So there's no way I'm about to raise your minimum wage and not balance things back out. So you basically still be in the same situation regardless.
Right.
Regardless. You go from $7 an hour to $12 an hour, but the prices of things you're paying for has increased with it. So you ain't changed anything. Nothing's changed.
Exactly. What did we change? Oh, well, right now people are losing more money than they are making it, because it's flying faster out of their pockets than it is coming in. Right.
You can't even, I don't even believe for our generation alone can you live and not have some second, third source of income.
Yeah.
You know what absolutely. I mean? This day and age, for the average citizen, you've got to work 2-3 jobs.
Well, and I think the mindset that comes with that now is, for example, right? My food truck is going to be up and running here in the next week, right? What am I thinking of? I'm also thinking of monetizing it in the instance of doing YouTube videos or TikTok videos, stuff like this, being a part of social media in that aspect, right? There's always, because if you want to squeeze that lemon as much as you could, or squeeze that orange as much as you can, and if we can do that on the low level, guess what these guys are doing up there with all of us? They're doing that same thing. They did that with the housing market, guys. That's why it's interesting for me when we're in this position and there's people that are questioning, well, can I do this? What is it all about? This, that, and the other. Look, the Forex industry is the biggest industry in the world, right? It's bigger than the stock market. It's $8.8 trillion a day that flow
It has
through,
increased
right?
tremendously over the last few years.
And it's, well, and why would that be? Because a lot of people are putting money into it and losing it, guys.
Yep.
So start taking your little slice of the pie, right? But understand that this industry is growing, even though you may have a lot of scammers out there, this, that, and the other. So somebody may use their time and scam people. Don't be that person. Use your time wisely and stick to what you need to stick to. Focus on the charts, learn what you got to learn. For me, it was not only the charts, but it was also a form of economics, so I can understand what's going to happen next. If you have that same thirst and the same hunger for that knowledge, it's out there. It's out there, right? But you have to be able to put yourself out there and choose, how do I, and ask yourself, it's a simple question. And I was asked this question a lot. How do you want to spend the rest of your time here?
Right.
I never realized how powerful that question was.
Yeah.
Until I started understanding how great of a time I'm having. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in 2 years.
Feels good, doesn't it?
It feels great, but that's what I'm saying. Like, today is Wednesday, and I can choose what I want to do with my day, right? I've been able to trade. Like I said, I'm opening my food truck. There's different ways that I can use my skills to monetize that and bring in money, rather than having to work for somebody and then hear these earnings calls and be like, I contributed to that $10 million that was brought in. And what did they give you? They gave you a 1 or 2% raise, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. It's beneficial. It's beneficial to keep everybody down there, because it's like the mule and the carrot, right?
Perfect example.
Mule and the carrot. That's all. The carrot, although, is what does the carrot symbolize? Your time. Forget money. Stop chasing the money. Chase your time.
Yeah.
Your time is so valuable, because you can never, ever get it back. We can see where we can lose 2,000 in 10 minutes and we can make 5,000 in the next hour.
Correct.
Money can always be made.
Correct.
Right. I also kind of figure that, and I'll wrap this part up with this real quick. I kind of figure.
I'm going to add to, I mean, these are perfect examples you give.
I kind of feel like how you said, like, it's never beneficial to be poor, right? Let's talk about that for a second. I agree with you. It's not beneficial to be poor, because then you get to experience the low life of everything. And then at that point, it becomes a blaming, pointing the fingers. And that's how we divide each other, right? You think these guys at the top are divided? No. They're working together.
Trust the top is not lonely.
They are working together, which is why they can conquer such a big group like the regular masses. Right. Think about that, guys. But it's beneficial for them to keep the poor, because we're always, anybody who's in that middle class, the bottom side, which the middle class is getting bigger to the point where there may not be any, right? It's just going to be poor and rich.
Basically.
But it's beneficial for them because we do all the work at the bottom, right? They reap the benefits and we do the work.
Correct.
Who's going to say no to that, right? We could hate them as much as we want. But no, I'm not going to hate them. I admire them. I admire their way of thinking, because guess what? They got it figured out.
Right. And then here's the thing about it, just to touch on that topic, I want to get into a lot of what you talked about. But when we're looking at the 95 and 5% ratio, we understand that it's not attainable, especially during this day and age. Like, we have more options, we have more access to information, we can learn how to do the things. But here's the thing, they don't even care that the information is out there, because they know you won't do what it takes. They're expecting you to not push the boundary, not take the risk, and not push yourself out of your comfort zones, be afraid. They expect you to do these things. They built you from birth to do that. And it's up to you when you're going through.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you out. What was the key word? What was the key word in that?
I said a lot. Fear.
Fear is false evidence appearing real. You can look at it like that. You can say, what is it? Forget everything and run. Right. Or, right, you can run away from it. That's what fear. You could look at fear in many different ways. Fear is the drive that will push you away from actually getting to the next level. Right. I will promise you that.
I want to look, man, and about the fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real, but it is a very real feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It is something you're going to face. You're going to have to come up against, and you're going to have to dismiss. And that's going to just come from the discipline. That's going to come from the practice. You can't not be afraid. You know what I mean? We've gone over time and had experiences that created the fear in us. As children, we weren't afraid. We didn't have these fears by any means. So it's important when you're having these fears come up into your mind, you have to say, okay, listen, obviously I'm afraid of something because there's something I'm missing here. There's something to the piece of this puzzle I need to learn. Once you enact those things and you practice them over time, the fear goes away. It's no different than when you first start walking, when you go ride a bike, when you first learn something in school. You're not going to A+ everything you do since birth. You ain't done it yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So don't come in here expecting to do it.
Right. There's larger things at hand here, which is why I think that people fear it, is because they're emotionally tied to money.
Right.
Right. If you decide I'm not going to be emotionally tied to money, and you accept that fact, and this is to anybody that hears this, I will guarantee you, if you start thinking in that realm, then at that point you're going to be more of a risk taker. Right, you're going to start thinking, hey, you know what? No, I can make this money back. I'm gonna wager this on this trade, or I'm gonna learn how to just trade in general. Shit, you could do options. You could do stock options. If you like stocks, you could do what the Forex market does, right? Buy and sell, because an option moves both ways, right? But the only thing is, you can only do it 8 hours a day.
Right. You have your
Forex, you could do 24 hours a day.
Right. There isn't a reason to be afraid to trade. Should you be afraid to join an MLM that trades? Maybe. But to get the skill set of a trader, no different than, I think, if you wanted to say, you know, I'm going to go do the MBA, or I'm going to go get my pilot's license, or whatever other aspirations you have. The nice thing is this skill set not only provides us the vehicles to do other things, Mike's starting a food truck, we're getting into traveling and travel vlogging and stuff. So there's other options for us, but you have to tell yourself that, one, what skill do I see that I can utilize to give my family what they need, what they want, and what I want in this life before I die, before I leave this planet.
Fact.
I mean, and that's what's beautiful about this, is that it's opening that up for us. And then not only open that up for us, but then our friends and family as well. So you're talking about getting into generational wealth. You're talking about getting into taking a skill and going to teach the next person who might be down on their luck or don't know what avenues to take at this point in their life. A lot of my friends are hitting that 30 realm, and they're just like, dude, I'm not doing what I planned on doing. I haven't got this degree. I can't even use it. Blase, blase, blah. I don't know the next step, but I want to live how I want to live. I see these people on social media. I see these people on Facebook. I see people living how they want to live, doing what they want to do. They know something you don't know. Taking the time out to just find out what that is and learning the skill.
So let me ask you something, Zay.
Sure.
Anytime during the day, anytime during the week, anytime at any point, at any given point, right here, right now, are you afraid of anything? Do you have fear? Do you have fear that
I've got a few fears tucked in the closet, you know?
Okay.
Roller coasters be a little, you know. I'm not a roller coaster dude, man. All I think is a screw shaking and running out that mud.
So then the follow-up question to be like that would be, what's the difference between you and somebody also who has fears, right? That's out there that doesn't know, right? We all have fears, right? There's a difference between you and that person, though, that gets you to where you're at. What is that difference? Do you know what that is?
I could give an answer. I feel like you have one in mind already.
I do.
For me, the answer I'm gonna give, what keeps me going every day, is not only the vision that I've created for my life that I'd love to have for my family, but also there's a drive in me to want this more than a lot of things. You know what I mean? There's a passion behind this because I know what I can do with it. And that's stronger to me than anything else. You know what I mean? When it comes to even like, okay, with the roller coaster thing, right? So we were at Disney not too long ago. I'll use another spot. We went to Busch Gardens. We went to Busch Gardens with the family last year. and I'm the one that doesn't get on the rides. Okay, so when the kids and the wife get trying to get on the ride, I'm the guy like, give me the bags. I'll hold the bags.
Right.
But
I'm
you
the same
can't.
way.
You don't want to be that person in front of your kids, right? So you muster up the will, the power. You're like, I'm gonna just get on it. I'm gonna just get on it, and we're just gonna hope for the best. And then it comes out good on the other side. But Mike, what would your take?
So you explained it perfectly.
Okay.
You explained it perfectly. You just didn't. So the word that I was using is control. You're able to control your fear more than what others can do. That was the thing. Like you said it yourself. You don't want to be like that in front of your kids. So you got on the ride and etc. You controlled it and just ate it at that point, right? Yep. And that's what people need to understand is that when you're fearing something, like there's nothing to be afraid of. Because, what's the worst that could happen? Someone's going to tell you no, or someone's going to get mad at you, right? What if you say something or if you do something, right? Like if I said something to offend you and you got mad at me, right? Would I feel bad for that? Absolutely. But what would happen? Am I afraid that I'm never going to talk to you again? No, because we can talk it out. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no, or that and I think that's why people always feel better when they tell the truth based on a lie, right? Because they're like, oh my gosh, I was burdened by that lie so much that I couldn't control my fear with what was going to happen with you if I told you the truth. Right. So that, and look, when you talk, I'm just going to throw this out here. We'll talk about this on a later episode, but imagine telling a lie for 2+ years that has 300 million people, and if not closer to 7 billion people involved in that lie. And imagine how long it has to go on for it to be swept under the rug. And that's where we're at right now, guys. Like, I want you guys to understand that from a higher perspective, right? We'll get into that later on. But what we're talking about here right now is fear from an individual perspective, right? If you can control your fear, you can get over anything. You can get over anything. You know what I mean? And I'll say this. People may disagree with me, and I have my feelings on this, but this is something that can also be debated and talked about.
Of course.
Should I fear God?
No.
I shouldn't fear God, right?
You should not.
But why do people say I'm a God-fearing man?
So over the years, hearing people say that is because they bow their heads to God, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
In all things. And that can be a little damaging, a lot of damage.
Yes.
I mean,
this is my point.
Especially
yes.
into your self-belief. Right? I was talking to one of my mentors about this very thing. And I like to look at us, right? I think people are God in the sense of if I had to imagine being a being of that type of power, I would split myself into pieces and do all the things. And I think each of us has a God ability. We have a gift, a unique gift we're brought here to do. And if you humble yourself too much, I feel like you cannot extend your reach in what you're here to get done.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, but Zay, to some people that would be becoming arrogant, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, be great.
my point to asking it is that there's a hefty balance between both of them. There's a way to not be arrogant and be confident, right? And that's why we're on this platform. So when you say like you have the ability of doing something and changing, right? Like that's our wherever your God element is within you, it's to where you can make an impact. And right now, I'll tell you, this is the impact I need to have. When I had people crying in front of me talking about, yo, thank you, you changed my life just after a week, let alone people that I've had for the past 2 and 3 years, right? That I don't know if I told you, but I had one of my previous students make $1 million in a day.
Wow.
Right? He called me and cried. And it was all because of fundamental news. He traded the US 30. He had 14 different entries on it, right? Because he was just looking at different entries as it was playing around, and then boom, it just died. This man sent me a screenshot and it was $1.2 million, right? He cried. He changed his life. And I'm like, bro, you put the work in. I was like, I was just a vessel to help get you to that point. I answered some of the questions that you had. That's all it was.
Right.
That's what that's what I'm here for.
Right.
I'm here to have those conversations.
And to the students, it's so much more than that. You know what I mean? From our perspective, it's like, we're just coming back with the information we learn as we move forward. But for them, it's like, you have no idea what kind of place you've gotten me out of, or the information has gotten me out of. So now I can do so much more. And it's so impactful. I mean, I get chills, bro. I get chills hearing stories like this, testimonies that come back. It's important. It's important.
It absolutely is. And that's where, if you have a love language, right? If you want to, love languages are for relationships. Well, like I said, this is a relationship between you and the charts, right? So there's got to be some form of love language. Right. Mine is words of affirmation when it comes to this. If you can affirm for me that what I'm saying is actually resonating and changing your life with, then guess what? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I'm happy. I don't want you to go that way unless you feel it's correct, but I want you to at least see the other road. And 99% of people that are out there, I don't believe, see a second road. They only see the original that they've been led down. And this is why I get to that point, right? When I ask him, should I fear God? I don't fear God at all, right? If people understood what was in the Bible, which when getting to know me, guys, you guys will find out that I'm a religious individual, but I'm not based on religion. Right. I believe in a higher power, but I do not believe that there's 52 different religions out there that people need to follow. I think that's absolutely asinine. Right. That's just ridiculous. Like we all worship the same element, but we've got a million different ways to do so. Right. And all of them are fighting for which one is more powerful. Why?
Because the separation makes it easier to control people. It's better to just see it as, and this is how I see things, and from my perspective, and I'll have a story on my religious journey some other time. But at this point in my life, it's a partner to me. I've got somebody that's got my back. I know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I can go to you and be like, I need the strength to do this, the power to do this. Even going through the last year of growing as a leader in this space, to be able to educate and things of that nature, took me going back and be like, hey, look, I need to grow as a person. What you got? You know what I mean? What can you introduce into my life? I'll sit and wait until it appears. And when it came up, I will utilize and grow as a person at the highest level to come back and reach out and help others do the same.
Yep, exactly. And that formulates exactly what I was going to say, to the point as to why I don't fear God anymore, right? Because when even the other point I was going to say, as far as like reading and understanding, the Bible or any religion, is that God loves you, right? Jesus loves you, right? Of course. So why would I fear anybody who's got their arms open for me? I would never fear. That's like me being 2 years old, me scraping my knee, and my mom out there with her arms open, and I'm not going to run to her. Why would I not do that? Come on now. That's just ridiculous.
Right.
So why would I fear an element of that stature? I should never fear that. I should want to work with it.
Exactly.
Right. And that's one and the same in becoming just a better person as in general. Right. So then this way you can have, like, you want to become a better trader? Well, guess what? You're going to have these conversations with me and Zay. You want to be better on a spiritual level, then you can have these conversations with the universe and God, right? Same type of thing, right? So, and I don't want to put all those in the same bucket, but it's the same thought process behind it all.
Right. And that's what essentially is going to bring us together at the end of the day anyway.
Right. And this will actually, these things will show you who you need to be around and who you don't, right? Because you need people that are, and this is where I'm going to wrap everything when it comes to time here, right? When you see all that and you start understanding a lot more, and you start being able to let go of relationships and bring in new ones, right? And understand where your self is at, then you can then you can actually sit back and say, you know what, that person's not valued. He's not valuing my time. I'm not going to be worth it. So guess what? I'm good. I'm still cool with you. Right. But I'm not going to be hitting you up like I used to. You want to go out on a Friday night? You hit me up. Right.
And
we can do that.
It's no expectation to remove the people that you've known all your life. But at some point, when you decide what you want to do for a living, right, I wouldn't expect to see LeBron with OBJ his entire growing career. He would hang out with other basketball players to develop his basketball skills.
Mhm.
You should be spending your time with traders to develop your trading skills. You know what I mean? And if that's a priority to you, just like if you were in college, you would be right there with your students doing this on the board, coming together, do group projects and all this other stuff while you're going through your 4 years of schooling. It's no different than any other skill. You need to associate with the people that do what you do majority of the time until you feel like you've gotten a hold of it or mastered whichever level you want to hit as a trader. Hit the level and then get back with the people that you used to hang out with.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different space. Trust and believe you're because of the new brain processes, you're going to be like, certain things will make you cringe or like, okay, I get that, whatever. But you got to understand where y'all at, right? There's levels to this. Okay. So for people who aren't progressing, and it's not just financial, but as you learn things to hit different financial brackets, you're going to have a different world outlook. You're going to have a different world view than you used to. People are going to look at you weird. It's going to happen. I've even had a parent go, think I was going full Republican, but I'm like, dude, first of all, I've never been any. I don't support either. I don't think they've got my benefit 100% in mind. I've got my own benefits in mind. But if I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose, and we talked about this yesterday, I believe, I'm going to choose who's going to benefit us as a country the best, to thrive, to survive, and be bigger than we are so that every person can eat. You know what I mean? And I'm high in regards to people that make their own way, make their own path. I think that the country was built on entrepreneurs, so you should run your own thing at some point. You know what I mean? I feel like these jobs are created to help you shelve into your own thing, especially these days.
So a couple of points that you said that are huge, right?
Yeah.
Owning your business built on entrepreneurship, yes, 100%. And I'm going to tell you this is that people want a quick lick, right? They want to make that money real quick, or they want to make it as easy as possible, right? I'm going to tell you the lick to have, and what I mean by lick is some form, like for those that don't understand, it's like when you rob somebody, you're pulling a lick, you know what I mean? You're trying to make that quick, fast money, you know what I mean? And it comes with consequences, right? A lot of people use welfare as that platform right now. Because it's easy to get free money. What people don't understand is that money is not free, right? It's supposed to be a temporary fix for you to become a normal working individual citizen in the United States, right? Make your money. How are you going to make your money? They don't care. That's the funny thing. They don't care. But as it comes twofold. It's a temporary fix, but they also want to keep you in that. Kind of like the jail system, right? They want to keep you in that because it's beneficial for them, right? The lick that needs to be pulled from every person needs to just open up their LLCs and run a business. I don't care what you do. Run it legitimately through a business. There's tax loopholes in small businesses for a reason, right? There are times like, so I'm not going to give away all my secret sauce, right? But there are times like my mentor who's going through this with me with the food truck, he said, look, this is how you're going to want to set all this up. This, and this. Let the system work for you rather than you work for it. And then he was like, at some point, guess what? It's going to come. You're going to have that conversation with your accountant. And they're going to say, you're going to have to go spend this money. You're going to have to spend this money. You're going to have to spend this money because you're going to make too much. And I was like, wait a minute. But when you're talking about like our projected volume in the first year is $200,000. First year, right?
Nice.
And that was my projection. And when we had that conversation, he was like, bro, he was like, you're not even going to come close to that. I said, what do you mean? I said, that's 16 days a week or 16 days a month. That's half the month, right? That's $1,000 a day, 16,000, 197,000 a year. It's 200,000 a year, right? He was like, bro, you're going to be making about $3,000 to $4,000 a day. He said, there's going to be times where you're going to have to spend money, and you're going to love it. But that part can actually be stressful as well, because then you're going to have tax implications if you don't. He said, so take your vacations, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I'm like, oh shit. I said, so the fun part can be difficult? And he was like, yeah, it actually can. He said, but when you use the system to get your way to where you need to be, That's the problem that you're going to want to have rather than how do I pay for something.
I love that you're doing that.
I would rather have that problem that I have to spend money,
Yep.
even though, and we're sitting here like, I'm not LeBron James. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not Kanye. I'm not Jay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not any of these guys. And I'm sitting here talking about $300,000 to $400,000, and it's going to be to the point where I have to spend money on vehicles and vacations and shit. Like, wait a minute. You're telling me that I can use the system to make me look like LeBron with a fraction of that money?
Yep.
Wait, that's the lick to have.
Yep.
Not to stay under control. They are controlling you when they give you food stamps, when they give you government assistance, when they give you this, they give you that, right? Yep. When you get cash assistance, or let's just say food stamp assistance, right? You can only get things that are FDA approved.
Yep.
Right? So I'll challenge anybody, go to your Sprouts, go to your Whole Foods, something like that, right? And I want you guys to go find noni juice. You ever heard of noni?
I have not.
It's something that Venus drinks all the time. We have a bottle that's $40 a bottle. Really? It is an absolute health booster. If you think that things like elderberry or sea moss, like those things are good, noni takes the cake on all of it, right? Yeah. And it's very, very good for you. Yeah, very good. Take a drink of it every single day, right?
Taking a look for that.
Here's the thing, though. As healthy as that is, guess what can't buy that drink? Food stamps. It's not FDA approved. They want to keep you with bad, and this is now. So now we can lead into the conspiracy control.
I mean, we can get the control of the produce and food that goes out here out of this world.
So we're on the same page right now, Zay. Unfortunately, we have to eat. In fact, we the unfortunate side is we have to eat what we have to eat, right? But 99% of these things that are flowing through these streets, whether it's at your local grocery store, Walmart, whatever it is, this is why it's important to buy from farmers markets, guys. It's all contaminated. All contaminated. Everything that you buy off of the cans, right?
Yeah.
All contaminated. There's no reason, I don't care what it is, there's no reason that a can of food should be able to last in a cupboard for a year.
Should not.
And guess what you can do with Chef Boyardee raviolis, right? So, and that's the thing, right? So, keep the people unhealthy, keep them broke, keep them in these impoverished type situations.
Yes.
Because why? It's going to drive them to go work for these guys that are making the millions and billions of dollars.
Right. There's a wheel going on. If you do not start catching on to the wheel, right? If the food's got issues, guess who's boosted? The healthcare system. I can keep you running through the hospitals. I keep you running through the hospitals. I keep them pockets fat. Okay. No.
You think there's ever going to be a cure for cancer? Nope.
No. And even if there is, it's not for you. Because you got to be able to afford it. So.
Right. Right.
At the end of the day, we're trying to position ourselves, right? To bring this back into trading, we are positioning ourselves to alleviate us and our families from running this cycle any longer, right? Or at least separating ourselves. We may not be able to save the masses, but we are able to save those that are serious, that are aware, that are like, dude, I've got to make some changes right now. If I'm going to be good when I'm 50, 60 years old, I'm not screaming around for retirement. I'm not screaming around for healthcare because they're not going to have my back. You got to have your own back at some point, especially as we just see what we just went through. You know what I mean? There was just released with on Fox News, you know, that they're talking about all the shots was BS. Like, come on.
Finally, and look, the truth finally comes out, but it comes out late. People don't care anymore.
Yeah. Right.
And the division has already been there, right? So I could sit here and I could be like, yeah, hooray, hooray. They admitted it finally because I've been saying it for years.
Right.
But it doesn't do any good because I already have 50 people, 100 people that already hate the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And that hate me because of what I said. Like, there's people in my neighborhood. Like, there's an app that's for my neighborhood. And it links all of our neighborhoods out here in Maricopa, right? There's like 8 different joints. There's 8 different developments.
Yeah.
And this app is called Nextdoor, and it allows your local neighborhoods to be chimed in with each other. And let me tell you, politics was the number one thing that was talked about. 99% of those people were talking about Biden this, Biden has to be here. We have to do this. We have to do that. You got to take your boosters. You got to take your vaccinations. And I'm like, no.
Well, you see how people get trained. This is the mental training that you've gotten over the years. We're seeing that in action. I've convinced you to think a certain way.
Yep. Exactly. And at that point, you're using your time as a follower and not a leader.
Yep.
Let that sink in for a second, because what got you to the point to where you're believing all this? I bet it was fear.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, for those that don't know, I've had COVID. In fact, I had COVID 3 times. Three. I had 19, I had the Omicron, and there was one in between there, right?
Yeah.
And I got to feel all the different symptoms. So the first one that I had, which was the worst one, it was 6 days of a migraine. I didn't eat, I didn't drink. It was bad, I'm not gonna lie, but I got through it. Yeah. The second time, I lost my smell and I lost my taste for about 2.5 weeks, right? The third time was literally like a cold, right? And it was 24 to 48 hours and I felt okay, right? But I got through all those. And that's the thing, like people need to understand that your body is made to be able to fight these things, right? And if you look at what happened historically, like as far as these cases went, it was right in front of our faces. People died because of underlying issues, right? So for those, like, I'm not going to condemn anybody that ever took the vax, right? My mom is 73. She turned it down, but that's because she knows too much from what I would be talking about, right? She has me in the house. Well, for those that are out there that don't have somebody that is able to view this side of it, right? And you can just put the puzzle together now, and hindsight is always 2020. And I would bet the majority of those people are like, I wish I didn't even take that vaccine.
Right.
Because they don't even know what's still flowing through their system still.
No idea.
Right?
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, we're starting to hear these truths. Ask yourself, did I fall into this? Like, what caused me to fall into it? And I would bet that it was fear. I bet that it was fear. If you can control your fear, you can actually rise above a lot of shit.
Right. And then you have to trust yourself at some point. Right? At some point, you got to say, okay, I hear what you're saying, but let me go assess this information with some credible resources. Like, do your own research, come to some terms and agreements that you believe are true, rather than just listening to whatever's on television.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
For anybody that listened to buy GameStop, they're broke. If you listen to buy AMC, you're broke. If you listen to buy Shiba Inu, you're broke. If you listen to buy Dogecoin, you're broke. Every time someone tells you something, you end up losing.
Yep.
So what's going to be any different than this?
When it's the hottest thing, let me tell you something. When the block is hot, don't buy none of it. Okay?
Agreed.
Don't buy nothing. When crypto became popping globally, even nationally, I was like, all right, yeah, they're done. They're about to wreck everybody. The game is hot when nobody's paying attention, when nobody's watching, you know? So you want to smarten up. And this kind of can dial back into the friends and family thing, is because when you go back and you're giving this information to friends and family, things of that nature, trust they're probably not going to believe you from the beginning.
Yep. Be ready for the hatred, because like I said, I've got family members that won't even allow me in their house because I'm not vaccinated, put it that way.
Yeah.
But I won't get vaccinated because I know too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
if you see the world turn back to where it's just like everybody's walking around like nothing matters. Okay.
And it does. Everything, all this, like if that's the case, people are gonna walk around like 2020 and 2021 never happened, right?
Never happened.
What do we even go through in that time frame with all the negativity and all the hatred towards each other, right? It was crazy.
Was it?
But you know what?
Was it part of the game? You know
Absolutely.
I mean?
Absolutely. There were plans in there to divide people. There are plans in there to classify people, because now you have vaxxed and unvaxxed. When you're under vax, you got, oh, well, I took the Pfizer, I took the Moderna, I took the AstraZeneca, I took the Johnson & Johnson. You're dividing even more. You're dividing even more.
It's guaranteed. This
And when
this game is not made for the weak. You cannot be weak of
life.
heart,
This is
weak
life
of
though.
mind. It's right.
This is life. Now imagine, like we said yesterday in the last episode. Imagine being told a whole bunch of shit through your whole life, and then turn around and being told and understanding it now as a lie.
Is it your first time going through this? Let's just be honest here. It's not. We were lied to as children. You still looking for Santa? I don't think so. Okay.
Right.
Come
right.
on.
And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that touches on the religion side for me. Well, like I said, we'll get into this later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't sit here when we're talking about God, right? God's always watching. Well, who always watches you every single year? Santa Claus, right? Are you naughty or are you nice? Except that God is supposed to be this person sitting in this chair watching everybody from up above in the sky, right? Telling you that you've been naughty or nice your whole life.
Judging you. Yeah.
Right. So guess what? Like, really, if I can't believe in the Easter Bunny, if I can't believe in Santa Claus, I'm not going to believe in an individual person sitting there taking notes on how my life is ran every single day.
Correct.
So my belief is that if I'm living my life correctly, right, and which means my full intent is to help people. It's not to turn around and condemn people. I may say things to condemn you, but that's because you need to break the cycle before you rebuild it.
Correct.
And that's where the misunderstanding and arrogance comes into play. Some people, there's your arrogance, right? Oh, you're too arrogant. This, that. No, I'm just confident in what I'm telling you. Right. That's all it is.
Right.
That's all it is. And I'm telling you this not so you can follow it, but for you to at least understand that there's a second road. So look, with all those in mind, I'm not doing this for negative.
Right. Are we reaching out to people? Are people being developed, one, to lack confidence? Let's start there. A majority mass of people being led to be non-confident in themselves. So therefore, need confidence from a person who has broken that pattern is now looked at negatively because you've been trained to be non-confident in yourself, right? You've got to be able to think bigger than your surroundings, what you've been raised to believe, and find that confidence. Find something to believe in. If you don't have anything to believe in, a future, a vision, or something that's in front of you to go after and chase and be confident in whatever you're using to get there, you're not going to get there. If you wasn't confident in your car and making it to your destination, you wouldn't drive it.
Right.
Right. So keep that same energy when it comes to even in the trading realm, right? You got to develop that confidence as an individual in your trades, in belief in yourself and things of that nature. And sometimes that means stepping away from people who make you feel non-confident.
Yes.
Because then you got 10 people yelling at you like, you can't do this. Oh, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're gambling your money away, blah, 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 blah. Now your confidence is now matching theirs.
Yep.
And that's
why you've already lost in this game.
Right. You might as well hang up your hat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So take the time out, one, to recognize the positive people around you, the negative people around you, the supporters, the non-supporters. You know what I mean? Make time, a lot of time for your supporters. Make a lot of time for the individuals here to help you so that you can get to where you're trying to go. And then maybe you can reach back to those others and be like, look, man, I did it. It's not that bad. Come on. We can all live how we want to live. We can all see the world from a giant perspective, and maybe we can tap into more people to help out.
Yep. And think about it like this: when you've got people like Zay or Tay or myself that are over here like trying to provide information, our time is very valuable too, right? But when it's shown that the time is actually that's given is actually being utilized in a positive manner, you don't have, like, I would never expect somebody, even though it happens often, like I would never expect somebody to be like, yo, thank you, like thanking me profusely. I really appreciate this. You don't know how much this means. I do know how much it means. I understand because I've been there. But that's the thing. If you take the information that I've given to you and you run with it and it helps you get where you need to get, then guess what? You respected my time.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So am I going to be there again for you? Absolutely. If you need me again, if you text me, if you message me, tag me, I'm going to respond, right?
Yep.
Now take the other side. All you wanted was just whatever part of my strategy that works, right? Or sounds good. You apply it to your shit and you don't even know how to do it. You didn't respect my time.
Yep.
And what I was telling in the sense of reading between the lines of the information I'm giving, right? You just want the way. And that doesn't work. That's like giving a signal. Signals are good and all, but the best way to trade is on your own, 100%.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
So when it comes down to my point to bringing this up is because there are some people that will sit there and expect 2 or 3 hours out of your time. Look, ask the question, get your answer, move forward, right? And let that be the lead. Don't sit there and not respect the time for one by taking advantage of it and just missing 90% of the conversation. And also don't disrespect it in the sense that I'm not going to sit here and trade for you.
Right. Well, that's where the value comes in, right? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about giving value out to people. A big part of why ITU is named ITU is because we are independent traders unified. Okay. Each of us trade our own accounts, how we choose to each morning, each session, whether it's London session, Asian, whichever session we're trading, but we're able to come together and come up with plans as a unit. Mm-hmm. Right? Every night, we're able to come together and say, hey, these are some things we're seeing. These are the A+ setups. This is what we see are the fire ones coming out this week. Right? But if you're a signal taker and you don't know how to properly take a signal, then you're sitting here making decisions based on another person's whole brain, whole methodology. Mm-hmm. So you don't even know, oh man, if this candle does this, that person may have been out of that trade idea early. And you sat in there waiting for a stop loss hit. Then you're mad. Right? Yep. But it's not that person's job to say, oh crap, and they can't even tell you in time that it's happening, right? They may get out in a position or they lose $10. By the time they send the message, it gets to you, you read it, go back to MT4 to close it. You don't want $1,500, So taking trade ideas can be damaging if you're not paying attention, if you're not backtracking the information. I think if you get a trade idea, you should take it, go back, read the chart, do your own TDA, and then be like, okay, that makes sense. I'll take that. That's hot. And then if this happens and if that happens, I know what I'm going to do.
Yep. Now, there's a perfect example of what we're even talking about here right now. Mm-hmm. Zay, how long have I known you?
We're going on 4 now. 4 or 5
4 years. Whew. Right. I'm 39 years old. I didn't know you prior to my 35th birthday, right? I didn't until Forex came into play, right? So here's the perfect wrap up for time.
Yeah.
And that is and understanding the people that are around you. Zay and I, that's my family. You know what I'm saying? That's my family.
Yes, sir.
You could talk to us and listen to our conversations as if we've been friends for 39 years. Mm-hmm. And he's not even 39. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? Like we have those conversations, we vibe, right? But that's because we're on the same platform, right? We have the same mindset to a point. We're individuals, but we can have difficult conversations if need be. Yeah. We can have easy conversations if need be. Yeah. And that's the part that people need to understand of why it's important to be around people that value your time and who you are.
Exactly.
So these things, when you start talking about these things to yourself and saying, wait a minute, let me analyze the 300 or 400 people that I have in my phone book in my phone. Mm-hmm. And if you went person by person by person by person, I would bet that if you had 300 people in there, 2/3 of those people would be gone because they don't value your time or you haven't heard from them in years.
Guaranteed. Especially when it comes into the teaching aspect of things, right? We have a lot of value into doing this skill, and people getting into the game don't want to spend to learn the skill. Right. I'm not going to recommend anybody to not take free information. But trust and believe, a lot of times if you're getting free information, the value that should be there will not be there.
Right.
Okay. for me, it's huge. Like if you're invested, I invested into this. I said, this is what I want to do. I will do whatever is necessary to master the skill to get to the level where I can take care of my family at any cost, right? It was an any cost situation for me. You don't have to be at that level, but you will have to invest in your future. You will have to be selfish with your time so you can grow as a person, so you can grow as a trader, so you can develop, and you can always get back to what you were already doing.
Well, perfect example is Baby Pips, bro. Baby Pips. What Baby Pips has a great wealth of knowledge within it, right?
Yeah.
What does it not give you though? It doesn't give you support. There's nobody like me. There's nobody like me, Zay, like to answer the questions.
There's no communication. There's no communication.
Right?
You got to guess. You got to read it all and put together what works, what doesn't work. Exactly. You're going to bump your head more times than the person that went to somebody and said, hey, yo, how do I do this? You're already
and that's free information.
Walk me through.
Yep. And that's free information right there. So I would challenge anybody to do this. Go through Baby Pips. Read it, right? I want you to, because as those questions come, and you can't ask those questions to anybody on Baby Pips, you'll understand why ITU is important.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you've got individuals here that will be able to answer your questions and support your guidance and guide you through. You could also go through certain people's YouTube where all they did is copy Baby Pips and do YouTube videos on that. You know what I'm saying?
This big thing
it's there.
This big thing came out. I want to say it was last year, and everybody was tripping. Would you take? I think it was like $1 million or a dinner with Hope.
Oh yeah, the 500,000.
500,000 for a dinner with Hope. Yeah. Here's the thing. Am I trying to be a mogul in the rap game?
Nope.
Because if I was, that would be the valuable thing. Getting with another mogul and say, hey, how do I do what you've done can be more valuable to me than the 500,000 if that's the train I'm on, right? If this is the train you're on, I highly encourage you to get with people who are already doing it at the level you want to do it. More so than taking the cash, because you can take the cash all day, but that doesn't mean it's going to get you to where you're trying to go. You're just going to blow it on something stupid anyway.
Right.
But if you're in a skill set that you need to invest in and you're not great at the craft, it's your first time stepping in and you get to sit down with somebody that does it.
Now, let me ask you something about that dinner with Hov though, right?
Yeah.
How many people would be more starstruck than they would even hearing the information that he's giving?
Oh, most of them.
Right. So you also have that factor involved.
Yeah.
Right. Do you really want to have dinner with Jay-Z because you want to learn what he did, or because it's just dinner with Jay-Z?
Right. So that's where that goes back to that. So that's why I specifically said that you're trying to get to where he's at. If you're like dead on front serious, that might be a good dinner.
Maybe, but who's also to say that within that dinner, he gives you that one bit of piece of information that got him to where he needed to get.
Right.
You know, he may not give it. You may not recognize it. And here's the thing. You always have to walk away from that conversation understanding that his psychoanalysis is different than yours.
Right.
Your psychology is completely different. Regardless if anybody's going for the same thing, everybody's psychology is different. So what I would do, granted, I would probably have taken the $500,000. I would have invested into something that I want to, my own business or whatever it is. And guess what? When I make the millions and I make, the hundreds of millions, I'll be like, Hov, let's have dinner.
For sure.
And then you get both. You get both.
Sure.
It just takes time.
Right, of course. But if this is like, say I was any new rapper right now, that would be a value to you. If you're a new trader, it is a value to you to get with a trader that can get you to where you're trying to go faster. If you want to alleviate the bumps in the road, don't get me wrong, there's tons of trader out here that you can turn around and be like, I'm a new trader, I've got an account. Can you give me 200 grand to trade with? Here's 200 grand. You're going to blow it regardless. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skill set. It's not going to matter.
Right.
So let's alleviate the issues that you're going to go through by getting with people like us or whoever fits your style, right? I'm all about getting with mentors and educators that fit you. Like, don't get with, one platform versus another. It's not that. It's what suits me. Do they have a feel that I can appreciate?
Yeah, my mentor is a food truck owner and builder.
Right.
So,
and mentors don't always come cheap.
No, they don't. They don't. Let me tell you, it cost me buying a truck from him. So he had to build it and bought it out. That was $60,000 right there.
There it is.
So I'm lucky to be able to have this guy in my corner, but damn, it was expensive.
Right. Now we're talking about the value of that investment versus your ability to now make $200,000+ a year. I think becomes worth it.
It's going to be worth it in the long run. Absolutely. 100%.
Exactly.
100%. You're not going to hear me complain. That's the first time I've said anything about it since I've gone through this process. But I want people to understand that this stuff doesn't come for free. No. You know what I mean?
No.
So, I do
get it for free.
I'm with you, but I do think that there's a level though, and this comes with just being in the game as long as we have. Yeah. I do think that there is a level of, I don't know, I guess arrogance when it comes to how much some of these guys charge. When you're charging $25,000 for 3 days, that's ridiculous. I don't care how you're not appealing. What you're doing is you're appealing to people that can make the money and just want extra tips from you. Like, you're not trying to teach people from the bottom up. No. You know what I mean? No. So really, I mean, it's valuable info, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, is it for everybody? No. But how do you get those people at the bottom to be interested? As soon as they see $25,000 for 3 days, you're like, oh, well, I'm done. I'm not even going to do this. I can't afford it.
Me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there does have to become that price break. Like, my one-on-ones are a lot cheaper than what a lot of people are like. They're dirt poor. Like, I'm not trying to make money off of the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But I want you to be able to pay for it, so you're going to value it a little bit differently.
Well, here's what they're paying for. You're paying to not make the mistakes I made. That's going to save you thousands of dollars in comparison to what you're going to pay to learn to not make those mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to save yourself from blowing 10 accounts that add up to $10,000, you want to be in front of somebody that's made that mistake, that can stop you from doing it, if you're going to listen, right? So that's where that pay comes back into, because when most people, when they go after free stuff, it's like they don't care. I heard a great example from another mentor of mine the other day, and he talked about how if you had $5,000 left on a counter, right, that somebody gave you, and you walked away and forgot it and came back, $5,000 was gone, you'd be mad for a little while, right? For quite some time, you'd be a little upset. But if you worked 3, 4, 5 years to save up $5,000 and left that $5,000 on the counter somewhere, you know how long you'd be upset.
Oh, you would be furious. And that's my point to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people. I don't think people understand how to use time. And then when it comes time, and I think this is where the God-fearing portion comes into play, is, to me, like, if you're fearing of that next portion, you haven't done what you felt you should have here, right? So you're afraid that you're not going to be able to have another day to try and do those things. And it becomes to that point where people start having that fear, and it grows more and more right before they pass.
Right. Regret's one of the biggest things. At the end of the time, when you're talking to somebody, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, they die with a lot of regrets. A lot of, I wish I should have taken that chance. I should have did this. I should have did that.
Yep.
And we're here to hear it. We're here to hear it. Do it. Take the time. Sit down and say, you know what? I need to take some chances in life. I need to stop being so afraid. I've allowed the things of the world to scare me from getting things done. Push up and try something different.
Take the bull by the horns. And this is the type of conversation and this type of platform that we're having right here, where people can watch this. And these are the things that they're not going to teach you in school,
No,
right?
no.
These are the things that people are paying. What is it? Fucking $80,000 to go to Arizona State University,
And
and they're
still
not
won't
going to
get
be,
this information.
and they're still not going to get this, right? So, yeah, when you want to talk about other things, we could talk about how the schooling system is a scam. We could talk about, and it's all driven for psychological control.
Correct.
So
I like to think on pay attention to your history, pay attention to how things were developed for this country. You know what I mean? A lot of people in the beginning stages ran their own businesses with their children as the employment, had their own home. Everybody was self-sufficient and provided for the communities they grew in. And then all of a sudden, now everybody's workers. There's something that changed. And that was for the people that started to stay dominant. They turned everyone that came after into employees.
Yep.
So it's important for us to transition into things. I think trading is a great tool to be utilized to transition. Take the time out, just like you had to, you know, as in college, like we talked about, or the time you got to spend away from family to work. Give this that same energy. If your boss is going to hold you to coming in at 7 o'clock, hold yourself to making all of your chart sessions, hold yourself to your trading plan. Yep. You know what I mean? Somebody else shouldn't have to be as in control of you as you have to be in control of yourself, and grow. And then to tap back into the whole friends and family, they're going to either rock with you or they're not. And then when you succeed, those that not are going to try to come back around, and you can now depict at that time if you're going to let them in. Yep. And then, you know, they'll have those same regrets, but you can come back around. There's tons of celebrities that have had to deal with it. If you know Kevin Hart, you know him and his father, you know Hov and his uncle, and Oprah and her, many of family issues and or boyfriend issues or whatever. But those things can be overcame. And on the back end, maybe those things could be resolved. But for now, you need to prepare yourself for your future. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right now, every decision you make currently is going to matter. You're going to live the decisions you make right now in 10 to 20 years.
Yep. And that's why the two things that flow through my mind all the time, and they're very simple, but they apply to literally 100% of everything in life. A, history repeats itself. History will repeat itself. Guaranteed. Right? And why does history repeat itself? Because the one that goes hand in hand with it, which is to me the most powerful, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Nothing changes, man. Nothing changes.
As easy as that sounds, a shout out to Derek. Derek was one of my colleagues on the platform that Zay and I were talking about before. Mm-hmm. Young kid, owned, you know, multimedia business, etc. And he helped build that platform that I was on before. And when you sit there and you talk to this kid, like the kid is confident as all hell. But when we talk about some of the things that we've had on this episode specifically, we're talking about the confidence portion. To some, that may seem arrogant. And you know what? There were times that I had to tell myself, like, yo, this kid is a highly intelligent kid. Yeah. Right. And I respect and I love the hell out of him. That's little bro, you know, but he's the one that instilled, if nothing changes to me because of the situation we were in. So ask yourself, if you continue to be in these same ruts, or you're continuing to see the same things happen, you might go 2 or 3 months before something happens. Mm-hmm. There goes your history repeating itself. You did something for that situation to bring back into your life to be repetitive. Right. So what do you need to do? Recognize what that situation was. And when you're presented with it again, change it. They go hand in hand. History can't change if nothing changes, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. History repeats itself. Make sure that you could be that chain link that makes the difference.
Correct. Interrupt the pattern for you, yourself, for your family, over the years, everything. It's up to you. At the end of the day, nobody else is going to do it. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to come do it for you. You just got to decide what path in life you want to make once you come back through the loop again. Exactly. You're like, okay, this time I'm not going to do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a great place to end. Change is huge. This is all about changing how we think about not just trading, but how we think about our day-to-day decisions in life. You know, how we're dealing with our friends and family. And at the time, a big thing my grandmother told me when I first had my kid is, you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody else. So if you can't interrupt your own patterns, if you can't change your way of thinking, if you can't get your things corrected, then and how you processing information and how you're even acting on the charts and being disciplined, you're just not gonna make it, man.
Yep, exactly.
It's gonna be a hard road for you. And we're here to try to make that easier. We're trying to help people with their financials, their psychology, family. That's why I've incorporated so many parts of this aspect when it comes to university. I did not want it to just be trading. I wanted it to be our health, our wealth, how we hang out with our families and things of that nature. I want to do a lot of group activities and things like that, because it's only going to help us all grow and keep that environment of growth. We eat off each other in that aspect. Having that support system when you do get a trade right, because we don't get nothing but money at the end of the day. Oh, I was right, I made a good call. But sometimes the money aspect isn't enough. Having somebody to be like, hey, yo, man, good job. Like, you finally got onto it. You know what I mean? That matters a lot.
Yep.
You know,
now you'll get that from us. Hey, great job. But what are you going to hear right after that? Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again. Right.
Keeping each other consistent and on the ball. Don't get comfortable.
Well, and you made a point, and I'll close my portion with this. When lives change, right? When lives change, you mentioned it for you is when you had your kid, right? And your grandmother told you that, right? When you're a parent, and let's just say you have a troubled teenager, right? What's the first thing that you're going to say is going to change their life when they have a kid?
We're talking, oh, yeah.
Right. Exactly. When you want somebody to change, you want a permanent change. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's just, I don't think people understand this. Like, it's such a norm now to be like, well, you know what? Hopefully that kid will change her life or change his life, right? Because that kid might be able to be enough of a why to get them out the street. Right. It's not about that though. It's about the fact that having a kid is a permanent change in your life, period. That's what it's about.
Right.
It's just represented in physical format, right? So before you get to that point where it has to be like, well, I need something in my life that's going to just think about it first.
Mike's saying something powerful. Y'all need to get up on this right here.
do I need to have something happen for me to actually change? No, you don't. You just need to accept the fact there might be something you need to change.
Right. And the signs come before something like that happens.
Yeah.
Before that.
I've always said the universe will continue 100%. It will continue to put you into the same situation every single time until something happens. And what is that? Until you learn from it. You will continue to be in the same cycle, same situation until you decide to break it. Don't make something happen as a life change. Like, if you're not ready to have a kid, don't go out and have a kid just to change your life. No. Just tell yourself, I don't.
That's not what we're saying at all.
Right. I'm not saying that. Yeah. What I'm saying is use that as fuel to say, wait a minute. And this is a lot of this whole conversation here is telling people, take a look in the mirror. What do you value? How do you value it? Who values it with you? Are they worth it? And what are you doing to get to what you value? Are you making your changes in your life? How are you able to do that? Look, that whole that's a conversation people need to have within themselves.
Definitely. So, this is something and I'm going to close out on this. Learning to attack that is going to take your own research, your own development. But when you're part of a community like this, we have career traders meet on Sundays prior to weekly overview, and we talk about these things. Where is our mindset at week to week? We're talking about the top people trying to perform, trying to make a living out of this. Where are you thinking? What are we thinking about? And I want to get to the point of releasing that publicly. But for now, I think it's important to those people who are dead set serious about doing this to sit down with them every week and we can assess, are you following your plan? Not just your trading plan, but your life plan. Are you on track? Are you on destination, on track to hit that destination, to hit that goal? And we can sit down as a group and figure it out. Don't feel like you can't be humble with the people you're learning from. Right. We're not your college professor. We're not your high school educator. We are
not just humble, vulnerable.
Correct.
You got to be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. Be open. We all failed. We've all busted accounts.
Yep.
We've all done something stupid at some point when it comes to this game. Talk to us about it so then maybe we can help. Maybe we can tap in with you and say, all right, as a group, hey, did you deal with this? Yeah, I dealt with something just like that. Oh, yeah, I can recommend you to him. You know what I mean? To sit down off time and then we can figure out a game plan, right?
Yep.
We're here for each other. On that note, hey, Mike, I appreciate it. This was a great conversation today.
Agreed.
I think we got in deep. We talked about some things. We've learned more about each other. You know what I mean? I think it's a great time to go ahead and close out. I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, man. We're on basically all platforms, Facebook, Telegram, link will be down there, Instagram, you name it. Fanbase is a big new one. I'm getting set up now. So go ahead and subscribe there, bro. Because the big part of them is just that we get to connect with people one-on-one. We've been learning a lot about social media being controlled and stuff. So finding a platform where we can just connect with the people that connect with us is just what I wanted to be on. So check it out as well. And hit us up on the side. Mike's got his platforms, so that'll be in the bottom. We're going to do this again. We're going to have this conversation again for sure, because I'm definitely going to want to have other people's experience so you guys can see, we not the only ones. Me and Mike just ain't the only people around here dealing with these types of issues or been through these ups and downs, and many people have. So that's going to come back for sure. But again, appreciate everybody watching, and we'll hit you guys up in the next one.